as far as music for entertainment, it's just not something, it kind of has no place for it, that's all.
No time for it.
I love that. And also, it eliminates the factor of you getting influenced
or injured
or like if you listen to, like, comedians do this, you listen to other comedians and subconsciously you
get influenced.
You get influenced by a joke, and you could actually probably steal their joke and not even know. Is there any of that involved in it as well?
Well, it could have been maybe a long, long time ago, but not anymore. I don't get influenced by anything.
Damn right. Goddamn right.
Here we go. 1, 2.
Oh, I missed. Your turn.
Okay. Damn it.
I'm trying to.
All right, now it's a wiener whack off. Whack all you can.
Oh, broke my stick.
I can't do it. It's 1 minute at once.
There's a backup stick over there if you need it, Dan.
Ow! Oh, sorry.
Oh, you got the tip? Oh, it's bouncing.
God damn it. God.
Thought you'd be good at showcasing it.
I'm sneezing. Just hit it.
For those that are listening that haven't been to Hourglass, like, you guys have a compound.
Yeah, let's talk about the setup. I was thinking about that when I went to the restroom. I was like thinking about, like, what haven't we said about it, because I think some of our listeners don't understand that you guys have compound is a good word.
Yeah.
It's a facility.
Yeah.
Like, it's not a bar.
Oh,
it's not a brewery. It's a facility. It's an experience.
That's what catches most people right away, is just the size of the place.
Yeah.
I mean, you get in there and it's over 240 seats. Like, we've got enough space to have.
But it's not
anything happen.
intimidating. But there's
axe throwing
stuff to do. Yeah.
Well,
pinball machines.
We pulled the axe throwing, but that space will be utilized for something else. But we have that unique space.
Idiot.
That's gonna be it's gonna be the pinata room for Cinco de Mayo.
Yeah, that's perfect.
So, and then we're thinking of putting something else.
Who
in
likes
there.
axe throwing? I was like, throw an axe. Oh, who cares?
You can. You still can. If you but it's bring your own axe. I'll have some liability sheets printed out. Don't worry, HR's approved.
I mean, you want to do or you don't want to do. Whatever you want.
Whoa. There's still room. I mean,
That's what I'm saying. Like, you bring an axe.
done. You could open the back door and just throw it.
I hated it anyway. Wait, you still like it? I
Love
like it too.
Love it. I overheard talking about how you're just too nice. So
This is your fault. You brought me alcohol.
Don't victim blame.
You're blaming Lola for getting you drunk?
He's had 2 sips. What is
If I had $1 for anyone,
not the first time.
I was gonna say I have a knack for getting people drunk.
But the 2 sips, it's like it primes the, like, there's alcohol in my molecules, and there's just
molecules.
but it's laying dormant, and like all of a sudden
I got dormant alcohol in me molecules. What the hell are you talking
when I have
about?
2 sips, it activates.
Yeah.
and then I feel it all over. I'm sorry.
I did spike everyone's.
Yeah, hey, if you want to get your molecules feeling good, you gotta head on down to Hourglass.
Yes.
No axes.
Hello, my honey. Hello, my ragtime
Whoa.
gal.
Whoa.
Wow.
Hello, my ragtime gal.
Wow, my lady. Oh, man. I embarrassed myself.
And watch the WB. Yeah.
Whoa.
Why does it look like you're in pain? You can breathe while you hum.
He can't hum. He can't skip. I don't think he can hum.
You don't get it?
You sounded like you were coughing. You're like, you're like,
sounded like
help.
you were choking.
No,
I
he
couldn't-
sounded like a person trapped in the trunk of a mobster. He's like,
Yeah.
Oh, hold on. Let me.
put some tone on it, man. Is that the Nickelodeon theme
He
song?
looks like a baby bird going.
Is that the?
You got this.
So
Come on.
obvious. Hold on. God. Shut up, Drew. Don't make me laugh. Hold on.
He's spitting everywhere.
Just close your eyes and do it.
He can't hum.
He can't get to the end. I don't know what it is.
I don't think he can hum.
I can't change my pitch in the hum.
Yeah, you're just going. You sound like an old K car. You sound like my dad's old Chrysler K car.
Hold on. Hold on. Damn it!
Why can't you just hum? It sounds. You know what he sounds like he's doing? The Nickelodeon song. Go.
I thought he was doing Mario.
No, Mario.
What the hell are you doing?
Please
don't get mad at us.
Please don't yell at our producer because she's correcting your weirdness. Your eyes are sweating. Right under your eyes is sweating.
I was hoping he'd get this one.
He's trying so hard. Adele.
He's nailing it. He's got it.
He is not nailing it because nobody knows what the hell it is.
I felt like you're destroying your voice.
Is this the chorus?
It's Santeria!
Well, hard to listen to that with my voice currently. What's going on, everybody? I have to talk to you a little bit to warm up. And I was showing Tom, peak old man is when you have tea. Never had tea in here before. It's not bad. It's not bad. But I think, I don't know. I think this is doable for today. And then hopefully I can rest it again. Oh, yeah, when you get the gravelly voice. Yeah, this one's weird. This one's like pretty bad. It's pretty bad. But all in all, we'll just make the best of it. Manageable, vegetable, manageable, vegetable, manageable, vegetable. That's for you, Doug. You guys are going to hear me sipping. I also wanted to open Christmas cards on the show today, maybe in a segment. I thought that would be stupid. I think opening people's Christmas cards on the show and then critiquing them is kind of funny. I like that. I mean, you guys hear me every single day, so this is, I would imagine this is a little bit better than yesterday or about the same. Oh, man. If any of you guys would like to send us a Christmas card, we would love for you to send us a Christmas card. P.O. Box 141485, Orlando, Florida 32814. There you go. We have comedian Shane Mauss on the program today. He is described as a psychedelic comedian. Yeah, it needs to warm up a little bit too. I promise you, I didn't say a word from, I don't know, 6:30 until this morning. So like full 12 hours of me being quiet, which is probably good for Andrea, Maisie, and possibly Tom. You know? Yeah, he's going to Zoom. Let's make sure our Zoom looks good, because sometimes it disconnects. Does it? Yep, there it goes. Boom. Mike, Maisie did not have to do a science fair project this year. When does that start? There's something on there, and once that goes, it's going to be pretty good. There's like one little blob of shit. Where's your mic? There we go. This is so discouraging.
Yeah, now I think about it, Tommy hasn't done a science fair project.
He didn't do it? Good. They're stupid.
I don't know. No. The physics bus came to his school.
I like the physics bus.
And both my sons are into science.
Hey, baby, it's a physics bus.
But then I asked him what the physics bus had on it, and he's like, well, they showed a spectrum, a light spectrum, and I'm like, well, what else? And then he's like, that's it. And I'm like, only a light spectrum?
No, they got more
like
on that bus.
Only a prism? You gotta do the bowling ball where you put it up against a kid's nose and then you let it go.
Yeah.
And then you scare them and it's gonna crush their skull. But the physics, it will not go further
because it's losing energy.
Then yeah.
Except you're that one girl and you push it and then it comes back and breaks your nose. You've seen that one, right?
Oh yeah.
It's
you
funny.
Push it.
I like that one.
They gotta just step up the physics bus.
I don't even know if we got the physics bus. I don't think Maisie's school got the physics bus. Oh, we're getting a phone call.
It only goes to the poor neighborhood.
Do you want to grab that just in case that's him on the phone? Yeah. Just in case.
Hello, Tom and Dan. Hello. Say that again.
Order.
What was that? I'm sorry.
Hello?
Try again. I can't hear you.
Oh damn it.
Sorry.
He's like, are you the owner of a 2016 Ford Focus?
I am. How did he know? How did he know I bought a burner car? Is that a thing? A burner car?
Thing with I'm sure
that's not
the
a thing.
ultra rich.
That's not a thing.
I don't know what it would be useful for. Like,
I wanted to keep. Andrea had like a Nissan Sentra that I wanted to keep because it was fun to drive, but it was kind of shitty.
You just rag it out.
Yeah, but it was very fun to drive.
If you had like some sort of property, man, it'd be nice to have like
property. Let's buy property.
15 acres, and then you're like.
I would be okay with like 4 acres.
Yeah, 4 acres too small.
It is, but I'd be okay with it.
Yeah. But you need something where you could like go out and there's trails or something. You know what I'm saying? Like there, you can't see where your property ends. That's what I like. Like 5 acres is big. The Wizard used to have that in Gainesville. And it was cool having that much property, but you could see, you could see where your land ends. But the people that have big, like, 15, 20 acres, and there's usually like forest and shit, is like, oh, my property goes way back into the creek.
Yeah.
And then you could.
The people that don't know, they have to send people out there to like, make the markers.
Yeah.
The most we ever had, the most my dad ever like earned, like we had 2.5 acres.
Okay, yeah.
And that was the stories I told about going out on the bush hog, and we just like ride the bush hog all around and clear it. We really just bought it to clear it and then resell it. We never did. It was dream property. A lot of people do that. A lot of people will buy dream cars to redo. They'll buy dream land to build their house, but they never get to the dream. Because you know why? The dream doesn't matter. It's the idea of the dream that matters. So they got as much out of that land as they would have if they accomplished the dream.
Yeah.
I do believe that. I do believe that.
Although
you've kind of taught me that.
Once you never achieve the dream, because the dream is to build like your retirement.
Do you want to talk about it?
Then,
do you want to talk about somebody that did not achieve the dream? Jim Colbert.
No.
His car, his Datsun Z.
Once
he bought it and he was going to put it all back together. I almost abandoned my scooter, but I did not.
Yeah, but
I did not abandon it.
There's a thing where you realize your dream is shit, and then you abandon it. But then it's not the same dream. If you were like, I still have the dream, just never achieved it. That's the biggest stinger. But you probably just.
But it's okay if you don't start it.
Yes, yeah.
Because better to not start it.
Because then it's impossible, yeah.
Because then you can just be like, well, I never started it, but I would have accomplished it.
Yeah.
But if you start it and don't accomplish it, it's proven that you can't accomplish it.
Yeah.
Oh, it hurts to talk.
My mother-in-law has this small property in the middle of nowhere in Tennessee that she bought. It was like my uncle did this, and in like the 90s or early 90s, people were buying like cheap properties in Tennessee, and they were like marketing it.
I like Tennessee. That'd be great to have right now.
And
is it worth anything?
No, and it's not really near like all the hubs, like Asheville or like that's North Carolina. No, but you know what I'm saying, like the hot spots. So it's like it's an hour away from the hot spots, and it's not. It's just kind of like. And I tell Chris, I was like, what? We could clear the land. It's on a lake, kind of, but it's like you clear land, put a cabin, but then you're like. Too far away from everything else. It's not really sought after area, and it's kind of like, dream's dead.
Speaking of which, here are some photos of things being mounted on my scooter. Let's drive the hole. That's not good. Changing that. A rear brake mat. Okay, so basically what Shane did not like on my scooter while we're waiting for the other Shane, my buddy Shane Mauss says, the rubber strap with the hole in it that holds the battery that I mounted, he's changing that. It has a rear master cylinder mounted to the same bolt that's sideways. Yes, I mounted that master cylinder. He's taken that off. I don't know if you guys.
So everything he did, he's changing.
Yes, he's no, just one little part, just one little, because see, it's just a rubber strap that holds the battery in. He's gonna make that nicer, and see how it like gets like a hole in it. He's like, that's kind of crappy.
Well, get it running. I want to ride it.
He's trying. He's definitely trying.
The longest scooter project ever existed.
He's trying. No, there's longer. There's far longer. The ones that never get accomplished. But see, he mounted it. This was what it was, and then what he did is he made a bracket. It used to sit on the same bolt. He just put it on a separate bolt. That's a good idea. It's a good idea. That's why you go with a guy that knows more than I know. I just checked everything to see if we're good. It's just a weather alert. We'll have to cancel it out.
Oh, it's an odd thing we need to investigate. Talked to Jesus when he was in here helping stuff our gift bags for our beer fest, and he's the one that put in our alarm system 10 or 9 years ago, probably. And he's like, well, someone's been paying the $22 a month and he's like, it's not me. So someone's paying it. You guys have to be paying it. And I'm like, I don't think we are. I've never seen a alarm company charge on anything. And even if we were paying it, our credit card numbers have changed multiple times in the 9 years. It would have been cut off. It
has not been addressed since we hooked it up.
So, but it's getting paid because it's like there's monitoring.
Oh, the cops came. Yeah, the cops will come. It's working.
So he's like, who's paying it? I'm like, I don't know.
Nobody knows.
And he's like, I've never seen this before. And it's weird. Like,
it's your cell phone back in the day. It's the Drunky the Bear cell phone cars.
It just got, but
it fell through the cracks.
Here's the thing. It's hard for they have to be the monitoring company. It's all digital. So it's like they wouldn't have us as an existing customer if the $22 a month isn't paying. So someone's paying it. Or maybe they just have it as a promotion. I don't know. Jesus was like, I don't understand. I set this up like any other customer. I don't know.
Sorry, I'm about to email these guys. Did I say EST? Yes, I did. That is weird, though. I feel this is what Sam used to do. You fire off a little email, and you're like, hey, we're ready if you are. Now, it's not surprising to me that the comedian known for doing massive amounts of psychedelics is not here on the line. Right? Checks out.
Well, I don't know what psychedelics do for distraction. I imagine probably distracts you a lot.
Well, I was going to say what I was going to say is that it would be hard to be on time for the Zoom meeting if you're freaking the fuck out.
Oh, well, the people that are into psychedelics, they don't freak out at all.
No.
And
they're usually really smart.
They love it. I want to do psychedelics.
Well, this is the guy to talk to.
Because that whole theory of our human brains evolving quicker because
Chernobyl dogs.
ancient man was just eating mushrooms and shit, and then like our brains basically got wired different.
Psychedelics made Aaron Rodgers bad at football, but good at Jeopardy.
Because if that is the
You guys are
case,
funny.
And we evolved using psychedelics, then it does make sense that opening up your brain with using psychedelics, like our ancient evolved brains or old, whatever the wiring that we evolved with, would prefer us to be on psychedelics, and it kind of makes you think differently.
You don't think it was just a catalyst? Like, do you need to maintain a certain level of psychedelics, or were the psychedelics just the catalyst that primitive brain needed to evolve to modern brain?
Yeah, but I'm saying
Like you don't need them now. Like they've already served their purpose.
Well, then, but if you use them, it's kind of like that could be the next. It's like when they.
I think that's what he kind of argues.
The next. Because I do notice the difference. I take marijuana pills, and it kind of has a psychedelic effect. I will think of things that I could not think of without it.
Like digital hot dog.
Like I will be like, oh, things will make sense. Without it, I'd be like, nah, got really nothing, And then with it, I'm like, what about this and this and this?
I find that when I do that, most of those ideas, if I do write them down, it's the old adage, they're shit the next day. Like I read them and I'm like, that's not. I thought that was good. That's not very good. That's just me though.
Yeah, the ideas that I think of when I'm on THC. I do incorporate, and it's like, and it's simple shit. It's not even like far out bullshit. It's like, oh, I need to do this, or oh, this would be a better procedure. It's like small little things that it just never dawned on me without it. And so many people they're like, oh, expand, open up your brain. Do you think differently outside the box? Like they tell you, creativity is outside the box. Thinking differently is unique.
I find that some of my thoughts when I'm high are very creative and weird, but then I will look at them and be like, oh, those are way too weird.
Yeah.
Like I'll be like, it's almost like I talk myself out of the thought. Well, I did send them a reminder. My rule for these typically is 15 minutes, so we can let it roll, and then if you want to, do we need to do anything? We can do a segment.
We should do a segment for Friday's show.
Yeah, let's do it.
But
we'll give him 6 more minutes. This one seemed extremely organized, but,
Who is this through?
Glory Days Promotions, who set up, they set up when we had, what's his name? We asked him about his therapy on his back. Chris Kattan.
Oh, yeah, okay.
We had, then there are like 3 other guys we've worked through them on. And they usually work pretty good, but, who knows? This guy could be traveling, or his phone is shit out, or... That's the number one thing that I think we get a lot of the time is traveling. I think it's hard.
Yeah,
they'll be like, I don't have any reception, and then what is he supposed to do,
Yeah. What a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
If you were like, you got to go from one city to another city, and then
it's
they
hard.
set up a couple media hits, and then you have
this
to...
was a last minute, too, because, like, his deal is... Okay, they're tracking him now. I just got an email back from Pat, so I'm guessing they're trying to find him. Sorry about that.
I would just talk myself out of, I'd be like, the extra media doesn't do shit. I'm not
I'm sure people do that.
It depends on it depends on my social media following. Like if I have enough followers in that particular area, then I'm like, I'm not doing it.
But you know what? Every time I turn on Twitch, I'll see somebody that's broadcasting for like 4 people, and I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
Do it.
And and really, it's like you talk to some of the old school grinding comedians, and that's they're like, yeah, just do it all.
I have a bit I want to do on one of them today. We got a card from Bob Zaney. I'm going to open it live on the air. We're going to talk about Bob.
Okay.
He also emailed me with a proposition that I will talk to you about. Yeah, I want to do this thing. I got some music for it. I want to open up Bob Zaney's card and then open up the card from the Cummins family and talk about Christmas cards for a second.
All right.
And then, do you know the story about Haktua being a scam artist?
No.
Yeah. She's scamming her fans.
I saw some.
She did a pump and dump crypto.
Oh, really?
She did a pump and dump crypto, and it's bad.
That's someone got a hold of her and convinced her.
She said yes.
Yeah.
That makes it hurt.
It's true. But you also, I kind of feel bad for her because like some scam artist took advantage of her. She's just a small town girl thrown into all this shit.
Oh, come on.
That's what she is.
She's smarter than that. She's got people around her. She said she has a, quote, team.
Yeah, but you know how those things go.
Nah.
Your team is like your cousin.
I never feel, there's two people I don't feel sorry for right now. Haktua and Jelly Roll. You made your beds. She pumped it, and then all these people like bought into it, and then her and her investors pulled all their funding, which takes basically, if you like this one guy said he put $35,000 into it, and it took it to like $6 or something. Like crazy sad.
Defending a monster for a second. If you spend $35,000 on Haktua's Tua coin,
no,
there's a certain
I don't
responsibility.
But it was a scam from day one.
That the victim has.
No, it's a scam from day one. I don't think it really happened either. It was just a tweet where somebody said that. I don't think anybody spent $35,000 on the coin. But I do think
if you spend $10, whatever you spend on Haktua's cryptocurrency, it's on the people.
No, it's on her for being a blatant scam.
Yeah,
that is a blatant scam.
Well, who is buying crypto from Haktua?
Well, I mean, there's a whole subculture of people that are doing these rug scams. It's called rugging, where you pump the coin, people invest, and then you pull your money out.
Yeah. It's an old stock,
Sure, but
that's why
it's
there's
not
insider trading.
It's bad. It's not a good thing.
No, I know, but I'm blaming the victims that are following Haktua's goddamn financial advice.
I don't know if we're gonna get this guy. I might just have to hit him back and say, hey, good luck. She's on, they have like a proof of a call, and then they have the guy CoffeeZilla on YouTube that investigates all these crypto schemes.
Oh.
He jumped into like a live chat when they were doing it, and you can hear Haktua on the line. Like you could hear her screaming. She's like, why the fuck are you even in here? Oh, it's great. It's such good audio.
Again, if like,
it's so good.
This person doesn't know anything about finance or crypto or anything. People, there is a real problem where the general public, it's too easy to buy this shit, and like with Robinhood and stuff, like you're spending, the casinos have been doing it for years, by the way. Like people, you're taking advantage of people that don't understand the odds and the math of anything.
Well, should we move on and get something going? I hate just wasting time.
Yeah.
All right, let me hit him up.
You could just say just say that just leave it open, and then if we'll do 20, and if they hit us back, we can. Also, if he pops in and Zoom, we could just take it live. It's all good.
Okay, let's talk Christmas cards then. Let's do something silly. Alrighty. Would you like to begin?
Sure.
All right, here we
Do
go.
we have voicemails too?
We do.
Okay.
We do have some voicemails. Let me get those so I can jump to them. All right. Boom. All right. Here we go. And 3, 2.
Welcome to Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Tom.
I am Dan.
So you mentioned Christmas cards. What?
Well, I mean, I love Christmas cards. Well, let me say this too. Like, I like to remind you guys when we come back or when we start. But hey, we are live on YouTube, and we need as many subscribers there as humanly possible. So like and subscribe our YouTube channel. Come over there and watch our show. We get Christmas cards, and I always forget to give out the P.O. box or even the physical address of the studio so we can get more of these, and because I really enjoy getting them. So I'm going to give it out now. P.O. Box 141485, Orlando, Florida, 32814. That is our P.O. box that you can send Christmas cards or damn well anything you want to. But are you guys doing a Christmas card this year? Do you guys ever do? Yeah, you guys have done Christmas cards plenty of times.
Crystal used to do them back in the day, but we ran out of time.
I think that's the number one reason why most people do not do Christmas cards is time, I would imagine.
If you could just pay a company to put it together and send it to your mass email address and stuff, I bet people would subscribe to that.
What, like, what do you mean by send to your mass email?
Like, you just upload, like, it's an online company, and it's like christmascards.com. You upload like Excel spreadsheet of all your friends and family's address.
Stop. I got him.
Oh.
We'll just kill that because it's only a minute.
It was a brilliant idea. I'm coming up with a brilliant business idea.
Hold on. I'm loading him up here.
I'm joking. It's not brilliant at all.
Shane, what's going on, man? How are you?
Hey.
Oh, it looks beautiful. Where
What's going on,
are you?
dude?
Where you at? It looks beautiful.
I'm camping somewhere. I don't even know where.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Hey, thank you for the
Hold
time.
on, what part of the country are you in?
I'm in Florida.
Oh, wow.
okay.
It looks nicer than where we're at.
I'm near. Sorry, I lost track of time. I was going to set up a microphone and everything.
You're
and
fine. You're fine.
So sorry.
No.
I camp a lot in Florida. Are you somewhere around Central Florida, around like the Abbey, where you're going to be performing at?
Yeah, I am. Let's see. Where the heck am I? Jonathan Dixon State Park.
Okay.
Do you want to start? I wasn't.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, because I thought you were throwing that in there, and I'm like, I'm not rolling. So.
No.
All right, here we go.
Okay.
By Jupiter Island.
Okay. All right.
That's awesome. That's a good spot.
Yeah.
Well, we'll get started, man. If you can roll like this, we'll just go because we're excited to talk to you.
Absolutely.
All right, man. Here we go. In 3, 2.
Welcome to A Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Tom.
I am Dan. This is super cool because I feel like, instantly getting to chat with this particular gentleman and comedian, when we're looking at like where he kind of zoomed in from, we're like, boom, this dude's doing stuff that we like to do.
Well, also, after reading about Shane, I'm so glad that you fell into the stereotype that I wanted you to be, where all of a sudden you call in and a full beard, I call it the runner's gump look.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
The guy calling in for the psychedelic show calls in late with a beard, with bed beard and pure classic hippie hair in front of palm trees.
Yes, at some sort of random campsite. You don't even know where it's at.
Yeah, like
I have no idea where I am.
I like that. I want to share that. Yeah, you're zooming in. You do have a show at the Abbey here in Orlando. On the line with us right now, live from a campsite somewhere in Florida. We do not know where. Shane Mauss is on the line. He has a brand new show. He is known as the psychedelic comic or a psychedelic comic, but trust me, if you Google him, he's the guy. And hey, thanks for the time, man.
And the show at the Abbey is on December 9th.
Yep.
And you can get your tickets, theabbey.com.
Boom.
Shane Moss's website. But you guys know where the Abbey is. So Shane, me and Daniel were just talking about psychedelics, and I know you know the science. You do a science podcast. Here we are.
Here we are.
Yep.
Yeah. Congrats on that, man. You've been doing that for like 9 years now?
I think I started it 12 years ago, and I only took one break, and it was to put together my last tour, and we just finished recording a 2-part special, and for my psychedelic, my last psychedelic comedy show, and that'll be out next year.
Nice.
And so I'm starting up the podcast again and getting ready for launch next year, and so Florida is where I'm workshopping the new show that I'll be touring with all of next year.
That's awesome, man. Well, we are honored to have you.
So Shane, now I watched that Netflix mushroom show, the documentary. I forgot the guy's name. Yeah, I'm sure you know him. He's
probably How to Change Your Mind, Michael Pollan.
Yes, I call him Mushroom Man.
Yeah. We're just like the guy on the Netflix. Yeah,
but when I'm
so maybe it's Paul Stamets then.
Maybe
if it's the mushroom guy. No, I think you're talking about Michael Pollan.
Yeah, I think so.
I don't watch a lot of TV.
So yeah, and you don't need to. The TV is playing
in
your
here.
brain.
You are the TV.
So and the theory about how ancient human brains evolved from eating mushrooms, and they believe that somehow accelerated our brains and how we think, and that's one of the reasons why we're so advanced, and because of those, whatever, how many tens of thousands of years of just eating psilocybin and other psychedelics, and that formed the pathways in our brain that, so like, and I look at that.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly a fun story. I think people really into psychedelics really want to believe that is true. And I'm not sure how much scientific basis it actually has. I can tell you that that psychedelics do tend to increase neuroplasticity and some verbal fluency stuff. So maybe if that brought out some traits that were eventually selected for and got some people laid over time through the years, and then those kind of traits for openness eventually evolved, I can maybe see something being cobbled together through the long span of evolution. But I doubt that it has a direct connection to changing the shape of our brain. However, it is very much true that psychedelics have been a part of our evolutionary history for a very, very long time, as evidenced from a lot of archaeologists and cave paintings and things like that.
Well, it does make sense logically that ancient humans were just eating things around the mushrooms, anything like the hunters and gatherers are gathering, and then you'd eat psilocybin and other things that make you hallucinate. And in my own life, I'll eat THC all the time, and I do find that and it has
that. Yeah, we are those guys. Yeah, we're probably the Stoner Orlando podcast.
But I do, and I'm sure a lot of our listeners do find, and even if you smoke it, but eating it somehow has like a little more of this effect where I feel like I do think of ideas outside the box that I normally wouldn't have thought of, and that it kind of makes sense. Like if ancient human, you get into the habit of your brain just wants to survive. You do the same thing every day, and then all of a sudden you introduce psychedelics or THC or something to expand your mind, and you think of something you normally wouldn't have thought of. And I was like, that could have helped humans evolve to or get to thinking of new ideas.
What do you think about that?
Oh, I absolutely believe that psychedelics are a huge boon for creativity, in that they activate different regions of the brain that normally don't have kind of crosstalk. So this is where some of the kind of hallucinations and things come from, where people might like see music or something like that. That's just synesthesia. Some people have that naturally. And so, there's a huge benefit to creativity. I would say that humans are about the most cognitively flexible species on Earth, and have a vast toolkit. So to me, it would make sense that there is a lot of psychological motivations to kind of stick with what you know works for a lot of people. Maybe 80% of people do that. And then maybe 20% of people are like, hey, what the hell is over that hill? And a lot of them die. And then some of them bring back some real treasures that are a benefit for all. So I can see psychedelics kind of being a role in that, in increasing kind of technologies and cultural transmissions, and certainly we are one of the only species that would have the kind of psychoactive effects that we experience, as the main thing that psychedelics do is act on the layer of the brain, the cortex, which is what makes us most human. So a lot of our fancy language, philosophical pontification stuff comes from the cortex. Psychedelics are having a direct impact on that, which is why they don't do much of anything to most other species. And so yeah, it could be like a creative steroid of sorts. I've always kind of felt it to be that way.
Yeah, where do you think we are now with, Tom and I always talk about, we're like looking around and we hear people, every day there's a new article that's out there. Every day you go to Target or Walmart, you see more mushrooms everywhere. People describing that we are in some sort of psychedelic renaissance. What do you think about that term? Overused, dumb, are we? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think it's something like that is happening. As someone who's been in the game for a bit and experienced different levels of excitement and discouragement, I would say that, yeah, I mean, listen, I did a joke about psychedelics on The Late Show with Conan O'Brien, his original show back in 2007.
Yeah.
and it was the most benign little joke. It was a joke about eating too many mushrooms, finding myself in a Best Buy, inadvertently wandering into the camcorder department and thinking I was watching a movie about me watching a movie about me. And just I would say that's a pretty unthreatening, pretty safe joke in terms of how psychedelics go. I had to fight with the FCC. Basically, I had to fight with the government for like 3 months to be able to say that on TV in 2007, and so and I did my first fully themed psychedelic show back in 2015, I believe. And back then it was like, oh my gosh, I think actually the first time I ever did my psychedelic show was in Florida as well. So what a lovely time that I'm launching this new one in Florida as well.
Can you explain a little bit about how, like, going through your career, how you would use a little bit, you maybe dabble a little bit in a psychedelic joke or put a little joke in there here and there, but you had to almost work your way up where you could do like a full, a completely psychedelic comedy show, right?
Well, I just didn't know that there was a audience for it. As far as I could tell, whenever I mentioned psychedelics on stage, I could get 1 or 2 jokes to work. But if I talked about psychedelics for more than, say, 5 minutes, people started looking at me goofy. So I just didn't know there was an audience for it. I'd just been tripping balls by myself for a long time. I didn't really know that it was a relatable topic until the world of podcasting and things came out, and it allowed for more long form, more honest, uncensored conversations. And I happened to have some stories that I shared on a couple podcasts. I remember Pete Holmes' podcast in particular, You Made It Weird, where I told a DMT story that I wasn't intending on telling, and it ended up taking over the whole show. And then I got all of these messages and everything. I was like, oh my gosh, people actually care about this stuff? I have no idea.
Wow.
Or I had no idea. And so that was the first time I put together a show. But back then it was like, people would come out like, oh my gosh, like someone's talking about psychedelics for a whole show on stage. I can't believe that's happening. And now it's like, I mean, the level of like the number of grandparents that come to my show, it's like everyone knows about psychedelics now. It's back then, no one knew what ayahuasca was, and now it's like a whole cliche. Everyone, oh, ayahuasca, sure, the stuff you go to Peru or Brooklyn, and
it's those two places, yeah.
Shane, I'm curious because you know a lot about this topic, and I'm fascinated by it. Now, so let's look at the science behind all this. So, like, let's start with the ice baths because I'll make the comparison from ice baths to psychedelics. So, ice baths we see in Wim Hof, and like, there's actually science behind submerging your body in super cold water.
I like he's giving the hand. He's like pseudoscience.
Okay.
Those are pretty small sample sizes.
It is, yes, I know, but it makes sense to me, Shane. So follow this long, high question I have. So it's and like making your body freak out and think it's dying. I could see like, and I'm not talking cold showers because this is where the correlation comes. But making your body freak out and think it's dying does release emergency proteins and things like it. There is some science behind your body surviving, and then the benefits that something like that can do.
Sure.
I also think we should bleed a lot more, give blood and stuff, and like that. Our body constantly creating. We're making it too easy on ourselves. Anyway,
stay on track.
So back to the ice bath. So cold shit.
I love this new suffer worship culture that's been created by the wellness communities. Go on.
Well, I thought you were part of it, Shane.
No, I don't think he is at all.
So anyway, so then
I'm actually a bit of I'm to most people I would be called a little more of a skeptic within some of the communities, but go okay. On. I have a lot to say, and I'm very interested. But I'm also giving you a hard time because it's fun.
No, I like it. No, give me a hard time. I can take hard times.
We're really glad you're here.
So I'm like, okay, if you submerge yourself in super freezing water, like I could see the benefits there. Like cold showers do nothing, right? Whatever. So then there's like the psychedelics. And I see the benefit, and in going back to that mushroom documentary, and like people with PTSD and extreme anxiety or whatever, they're going through a megadose trip, and then coming out the other side feeling like they are thinking about life and everything differently. And they've described it like that, and like going through this mega trip has kind of wired the pathways in my brain, and I think differently now, and my anxiety's gone or lower or whatever. And then I'm like, I could see that makes sense to me. But the microdose doesn't do it, the megadose does it. And so what are your thoughts on that?
Well, how much time do I have?
Oh, as much as you want.
I have so much to say about all of this.
Okay.
So let's see where to start. One, I mean, if you want that kind of nuts and bolts science, that's a little bit, unfortunately, because of the federal laws making things Schedule 1. One of the only things that Schedule 1 actually does, it doesn't deter crime, it doesn't deter use, it doesn't change the penalties of a drug. You'll get in more trouble for, let's say, a Schedule 2 cocaine or something like that, which is psychedelics and marijuana are still to this day scheduled more Schedule 1, meaning more restrictive than cocaine, opiates, fentanyl, those sorts of things, and so because of that makes it it doesn't change anything of what happens on the streets, or certainly not saving any lives, but it does make it so that scientists have an incredibly difficult time getting approval to run any of these studies. The number of hoops you basically, it wasn't until the Multidisciplinary Association of Psychedelic Studies started 25 years ago, and after 15 years of hard work just started doing some small studies. So here's what some of these small studies have revealed so far is something like MDMA. So I would caution people against thinking they need a megadose, by the way. I think that
oh man, we're the megadose guys.
Well, I mean, under supervision and in a smart manner.
Sure. I mean, first up, I think you're right in that if you were implying that that kind of microdosing maybe has some more subtle to maybe no effects, I think you'd probably be right, and they aren't well studied, and I don't have. I think there's too much hype about microdosing. I think it's like a safe thing where people are like, People are very interested in doing the amount of psychedelics that they won't feel.
Yes, I see that all the time. They give me the pills all the time, Shane. They're like, here's some mushroom pills. I take it. I'm like, I got nothing. And they're like, oh, it's a microdose. And I'm like, well, then why'd you give it to me? It's pointless.
I don't know what the difference between taking a microdose every day and taking an antidepressant every day is. If you're altering your mind on a daily basis, I think you're just increasing a dependency on something, and you're not creating any real change, the kind of change that can happen from experiential events that happen in some of those larger experiences with the aid of some neuroplasticity from some fancy neural jargon that I don't think we need to get into. But so here's how something like MDMA works. So it's what it's doing is it's limiting the blood flow to the amygdala, which is where you're getting a lot of your fear processing. And so a lot of the reasons why someone would have something like PTSD is because they can't process a lot of those memories in healthy ways without being triggered, because they have an inflamed amygdala. They have an enlarged amygdala. And so suddenly someone bumps in, you're at the grocery store, someone bumps into the back of your leg with a grocery cart, and you suddenly recall some traumatic accident that you were in as a child, and you react in this outrageous, uncontrolled way that you kind of don't have control over, and then you try to repress those ideas when they come up. So it decreases blood flow to the fear processing while increasing blood flow to the prefrontal cortex. The prefrontal cortex is a lot of the kind of higher executive functioning. This is the more thoughtful decision-making stuff. And this is even much more than the cortex, the normal cortex that I mentioned earlier. The prefrontal is what really makes us the most human. It's what helps us in delayed gratification and everything else. And so under the guidance of therapy, and kind of being given the space to examine some of those old traumatic memories with guidance, with now having your fear processing dampened while your thoughtfulness is increased at the same time, you can reframe some of those memories and address them. So that's something like MDMA that's pretty well studied. The FDA just didn't approve the current study, but it will still be approved in a few years. It's just going to be a little bit of a pain in the butt. And then there's ketamine that just has a long history of hospital use, and so that is well studied because it's a Schedule 3.
And you're a fan, right? Like, aren't you? You're a pretty big ketamine fan, correct? Like,
I do, but not for clinical reasons.
Gotcha.
I'm very like recreational and willy-nilly with my ketamine. Ketamine's the only psychedelic that I'm willy-nilly about, and
Gotcha.
It's a fun one. It's the only one that can potentially be addictive, and I can see why. It's kind of like it's shorter. It's kind of fun. It's not like you have to work yourself up to do it. It's not like this whole like a scary like a mental journey and you need a shaman there or a therapist or something. It's just sort of fun for me.
Interesting.
But
you think that's what got what Matthew Perry is, that he was an addict and he got a hold of ketamine in like some clinical way, and then he started abusing it because
it's good.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing with things that feel good. They can be they can be addictive for sure.
Yeah.
Well, again, I think Matthew Perry had a few other things in his system and some other things going on, but it is that I do think that story, because we're kind of into anecdotes and celebrity culture, did set back the psychedelic movement some, and was probably pretty poor timing. But Aaron Rodgers is about to have some documentary on Netflix December 15th, where he's going to be doing ayahuasca and all of these other things. So finally, like the psychedelics that my parents in Wisconsin have been judging me for the last 20 years and basically and feeling like disowning me, or they're gonna be like, wow, well, if a football player is doing this stuff,
an American hero.
I mean, that's just humans for you. What are you gonna do? I will say this about ice baths, which is that I don't know how much some of the, because actually think it's important. I think it's a what would be called an entourage effect, like an additional component of the effect that is working beyond just the drug itself, which is that we say the word placebo like it's a bad thing, like, oh, that didn't do anything. But in my book, life is about finding the placebo that works for you. And I think some of the placebo effects of having something that is that does, like you said, kind of mimic a threat, but is actually benign and triggers something in you. I think at the very least, let's say for a moment that that it's actually not doing anything at some cellular level, that Andrew Huberman is actually cherry picking some stuff to sell you a bunch of wellness products, and he does it quite eloquently. Let's say that for a second. Then I would still say that it has all the right things for a placebo, which is if you do something that is hard to do, and it really also, like, the less it actually does, the more it unlocks a placebo effect. Because if you jump in an ice bath and then it actually doesn't do anything on some cellular, well, then you just like tortured yourself for no reason.
Right.
And our consciousness doesn't allow us often to think we're that stupid. So whenever we put ourselves through some ridiculously stupid thing, there's a part of our subconscious mind that'll be like, well, I wouldn't have gone through all that for nothing.
Right.
And so it must have done something.
Yeah.
And I actually think that can really have a positive effect on mood and ability to reset yourself and to kind of drop some baggage of the preceding days and weeks of your life and kind of get a fresh start on things. And I think that's an additional effect of psychedelics, where, listen, no one would ever call ayahuasca a placebo, but I also believe there are placebo effects that also impact an ayahuasca experience. If you flew all the way to Peru, if you're enjoying some new culture, if you spent all this money, you did all of these other things, it's also kind of making your brain more receptive to the idea that these things are working. And a lot of times, if you believe something's working, it's going to kind of help you keep moving forward in life and keep you in good spirits and mitigate stress. And that's as much as most of us can hope for in life.
For sure.
Shane, let me ask you a couple more questions. We could talk to you all day.
Let's
because
plug him real quick.
All right, he'll be at the Abbey December 9th. Go see Shane Mauss. Listen to his podcast, Here We Are podcast. He's been doing it for a long time.
We're going to beg him to come in here when he ever comes back to Orlando and isn't super busy and camping. Because
I would love to do that.
We love chatting with you, and this is a topic that we don't know anything about, and we pretend that we do. So to have somebody else in here that could show us the way would be really fun.
But by the way, Shane, I'm sure you know this, but there are...
I actually think you guys sound like you know what you're talking about a lot more than a lot of local radio programs.
All right, we did it. We did it.
Well, we love...
Usually it's like, so you talk about psychedelics. Hey, what's up with that?
Yeah, well, I know. Yeah, well, we know, Shane. That's why we left that. We do it. We work for ourselves now because we couldn't stand that.
That is the reason we left. 100% why we left.
Oh, and then also, I'm sure you know this, but there are psilocybin mushrooms all around you in the cow fields everywhere in Florida. As a kid, me and my friends used to get garbage bags full of them. I mean, I told someone from California about this, and they blew their minds. They were like, "What?" And I'm like, "There's garbage bags of mushrooms
everywhere."
And I'm like, and the good ones. Anyway, so back to ayahuasca. What are your thoughts on the people that see that supposedly they have no connection with one another,
what you're gonna ask,
and they see these figures and they all describe them as the same,
and they're all connected? Yeah.
Yeah, I have a story about seeing a purple lady multiple times on DMT that other people see as well. I actually, once again, it seems to bum some people out because I think a lot of people are drawn to the more mystical conclusions. And rightfully so. I mean, that's certainly face value. There's no denying you have an experience like that. It is as real as something can feel. It's just as real as these palm trees behind me when you're in the experience. So it's up to debate whether I am in a simulation right now or not. So these are rather complicated ideas that I have about. Let me see if I can put it as short and as simply as I can.
Perfect.
So let's start with this. I think the best metaphor that I could give is about how the subconscious mind works is if you've seen the movie Inside Out. So if you've seen the movie Inside Out, this little girl has these different characters in her mind that represent depression or that represent joy and sadness, fear, disgust, and anger. Yeah, and they're fighting over levers on a control panel and such, and storing her memories in different ways at different times of her life, and that's driving her external behavior and external emotional states and how she acts. I actually think it does a really nice job of summing up how I actually do believe the mind works, and how there's like a different region where dreams are coming from, and constructing narratives that we aren't privy to kind of during our waking states. And in that movie, all of those emotional characters are aware that she is there, that the girl exists. The girl is not aware that they are there. I actually want to see a sequel to those films one day called Outside In, where that little girl as an adult smokes DMT for the first time and pops down into those worlds. It's like, oh my God, it's like there's this joyful God and this angry God and this sad God and all these different worlds.
Yeah.
I think that's what it would look like. I think if you never had access to those regions and you saw them for the first time, they would look like gods. And those things themselves, if you got a chance to communicate them, they would feel as if they are. They only have access to what they have access to, and much like we're all the center of our own perceptual universe, probably different, smaller parts of our brain are the same. So why does the brain have stuff like this? Well, we have to have these kind of flexible templates to understanding things. So if you want a robot, if you want to train a robot to be able to identify a tree, for instance, you would in the original like computer programming, what you would do is you would show that computer every picture of every tree you could find. But if you hadn't shown the computer a picture of this palm tree back here, you showed it this palm tree, it would have no idea what it was, because you didn't show it that specific example, because it's just using these brute force comparisons, going through a catalog of trees it's seen in the past. The human brain doesn't work like that. The human brain instead has these categorical thinking. We have these templates. So we have an idea of a perfect tree, and most trees. So every time we see a new species of tree, we aren't like, what the hell is that thing?
Yeah.
So when we see something that looks vastly different than a lot of trees, like these palm trees behind me, our brains can still sort of make sense of it. We don't spin out of control. We aren't lost trying to identify it. In that same way, I think that we all have kind of these embodied archetypes of say, a car or a male or a female or a cat or anything else, that like you close your eyes and you have kind of a picture like an emoji. An emoji is kind of like, okay, that's not actually what a human face looks like when it smiles, but it gets the idea across.
Yeah, it's like the essence.
And oh man, am I shutting down? Am I running out of? Hold on. 1 second here.
Oh no, we talked his phone power out. Now he's trapped.
Sorry, Shane.
We trapped Shane Mauss in the wilderness with no phone.
I know that we're just here to plug your Abbey show
and we're just
December
having
9th, and people should follow Shane Mauss, follow social media, listen to his podcast. Here we are, but
and go get those tickets to the Abbey show.
But now that we had you on the line, we had to ask you some deeper questions.
Well, I mean, honestly, like this was a last-minute setup, and man, we could not be happier that we got the chance to even talk to you. This is like super, super, super fun.
Did his phone die? I think it did.
I think we lost him.
No, God, I had talked to that dude for a
while.
while.
I purposely didn't. This was kind of like something that I knew you would love. So
yeah.
Damn it. We really lost him. Now he's gone.
Well, I was going to ask him, what he suggested.
That was my last question.
That people, if they want to experiment. And, we talk about the microdose doing nothing. Like, the microdose will do something. At least it'll introduce you. It'll take the fear away.
Well, he was just saying in your comparison that he agreed with the, there is something to be said. I mean, also, when he was describing the microdose, it almost gave me, tell me if you agree with this, it almost gave me a little bit better of a feeling about taking the small amount of antidepressants that I do, because it is such a small amount.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it made me think, well, it is a microdose, but then it does make me question whether or not, and you and I have talked about this at length multiple times about my anxiety, if I did approach it with a mega dose, for lack of a better term.
MDMA with a therapist, a professional.
With a doctor, the whole nine, and you go in and they size me up, and then like he was saying about the compartmentalization of the different moods or feelings or anxiety or whatever I have in my brain, and then to try and access that with a mega dose and then come out the other side and see if there was something that was resolved in that experience.
Yeah, and instead of maybe the antidepressants are just putting a Band-Aid over a nonstop bleeding cut.
Right.
And then you're just well, you're not fixing the cut.
Right.
You're just Band-Aiding it, and then
I think I got him back, so we can at least say goodbye to him.
Okay, yeah.
Because I don't want to waste his battery anymore. Let's see if we can get him in here.
Let's see.
No, I think maybe okay, sorry.
No, that's all right.
I thought we had him.
Was he trying to call back?
Yeah.
Damn
it.
Anyway, so you start looking at could this therapy actually do something to cure or fix even like long term, short term, I'm saying, something you'd have to do every couple of years. Something would be vastly better than some small Band-Aid every day.
I think that's kind of what Drew Garabo was talking, not to blow up his spot or anything, but he was kind of talking to me about the maintenance that you do on a ketamine treatment, like where you go in and you have one and then time goes on and then you may not need to have another one, right?
Yeah.
Maybe you do, something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, there's and he is right. It's what we've done with the law is so stupid. I laugh at this.
You could say that about a lot of laws, about a lot of things.
And then you forget about the THC seltzers that are out now. We had some at our beer fest.
Yeah.
And I bet you, and I even feel this way a tiny bit, like if I had a THC seltzer in my drink cooler next to a White Claw, I'm like, ugh, I don't want my kids to see the THC seltzer. And that's just
I do
the
too.
way I grew up. That's just perception.
Well, alcohol's normalized.
Yeah. That is so stupid if you really think about it. Like, what the hell? The alcohol is way more poisonous than the THC.
Here's a true statement. I've never had
that's biology.
None of my friends have ever gotten really high and done something at a party or in front of me that they would be embarrassed. That's just not a thing.
Now you can get insanely high and not be able to drive and just be as close.
You can be impaired. Yes.
You can be as close to effed up as in the alcohol. I'm just talking about the actual the difference between alcohol and THC. It's the THC is better for you. Right. And then, but the perception is that I don't want my kids but the alcohol, I'm fine with showing them. And then that's all societal. And then if you look at it, you're like, God, that's stupid.
Well, it would be the inverse of that if everybody did, right? Like if marijuana was like the beer.
Yeah.
And it's becoming that way, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
It is.
It's becoming that way.
But then you look at MDMA and mushrooms and
DMT,
psychedelics, and that's looked
ayahuasca.
at is way more crazy than fentanyl. Even though fentanyl, they are doing a good job of like villainizing this.
That's what I want. Though.
But
I want that
opiates,
fentanyl.
but opiates have always been. Like, you go to a doctor, they give you an opiate of some sort, and that's been normalized. But the psychedelics are kind of villainized, which is also ridiculous because the opiates have caused way more deaths and way more societal harm than the psychedelics. Now, again, with all this, and the balance is trying to figure out how to give it to society, and then because for the most part, people they'll do dumb things and they don't know how. It's like, like the joke about, we gave the villagers the sheep so that they could shave the sheep, and they ate them all.
Yeah,
you know,
they had one feast. They had one feast at the end of the day, and they're all dead.
And then our whole system is set up so because politicians just want to get votes, and then they want to use ignorance to get votes, and then it's like, okay, well, the system's flawed. But anyway, long story short, the psychedelics and MDMA and even experimenting with it is getting more open, and I do understand the benefits from all this, and I'd like to start trying it. I just one of those things where, it's finding the time to go, like, and also, like, I don't know, you have to really get into talking.
You need like a circle of friends that you can really trust.
You can't just take some ecstasy tablets and then I'm talking about like figuring out how to experiment with it responsibly and in an environment that's positive and for positive reasons.
I wonder if
not just for party reasons, which has always been my life. It's
there'll always be party reasons, right?
Yeah, and you could do it for
everybody. Yeah,
you could do it for party reasons.
Well, even Shane was saying that, like ketamine is the willy-nilly drug. I mean, that's exactly what he said.
But I should be taking mushrooms and camping and in nature and in certain things, because that could make the experience better, make me think about it or appreciate it different. Like, there's lots of things that but then I hold myself back and like, I take mushrooms and my son's around.
Yeah, no, I don't blame you.
I'm not telling them that, but it's just like, but then I do it with THC. Because that I've convinced myself like, THC is fine. Yeah. What the hell? I mean, mushrooms are the same S.
It only has everything to do with what you can convince yourself. Really?
Yeah. I'm drinking alcohol in front of them, openly drunk. So what the hell? And then I don't want to take mushrooms. Like, give me a break.
Yeah.
Like if I actually look at it on paper, it's stupid. But
God, I couldn't tell you the last time I did. Well, I could tell you the last time I did them, and it did nothing. Or when Josh Wolf gave me those mushroom pills when he was here in town, like what was that, 2 months ago? Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Well, maybe you didn't take enough or whatever.
I took them both. He told me you gotta take them both. I took them both.
Were you on THC?
No.
Did dead sober?
Not dead sober.
Okay, well I think
had a couple beers.
I think that's the problem, because then the alcohol affects it, where you're just like, am I...
like messes it up or something.
Or it's just like you're getting confused by the effects of the alcohol or this, and, but it's fascinating to me, and I truly believe people like Shane and the people that are into it. God, I know a guy that was straight edge his whole life, never and still doesn't do alcohol, weed, anything. And he found mushrooms, and he enjoys mushrooms. And a
couple people in the chat room are saying that. There's one, I won't say anybody's names, but he was like, those didn't do anything for me either, Dan. Yeah, and I'm like, I mean, like...
But that doesn't mean you should stop your journey. Find one that does.
Yeah, I mean, like, investigate.
It will... I'm telling you, if you take a dose of psilocybin, like it's not going to be like your brain is immune to it. It will do something once you find the right dose.
Or like, I don't even know.
I've never seen someone that's like, I'm immune to psilocybin.
Well, that's
or
why I feel
THC.
like if you were going to really do this, it kind of goes back to you and I talking about like that facility, a doctor, they know exactly what they're doing.
Yeah, or a professional like Shane or anybody else. There's people that have done this and been around it for years, and they know. And so, like, you don't have to necessarily pay money to a therapist.
Sherpa.
Because then again, that once you get into therapy and that becomes a whole business too. And then it's like, well, how do you know is it the business or does this person want to help you? Like doctors and stuff like, do they want to sell me this MRI or are they legitimately concerned? You know,
dealing with that now.
It's all money at the end of the day. So a lot of times you need to go to therapists and the people that do this for a living, of course, they're going to convince you that you need it or whatever. So I think you're your best advocate to knowing how you should go about experimenting with this. And sometimes you go to the mushroom doctor, guess what you're going to get? You're going to get mushrooms. You go to the surgeon, you're going to get surgery. Because this is a business.
Well, I mean,
you come to us for advertising, I'm giving you advertising.
I mean, also, if you're going there, I mean, like, you came here. You know, it's not like...
Yeah, of course.
I mean, it's by design, that's what it is.
But everybody in their life, they have one cousin or friend of a friend that is a mushroom man and really into this. Talk to them. Like, go to Shane's show and talk to him. I'm sure he'll talk to you. You know, like.
Well, that was one of the things he said in the documentary. I watched there's a really good 30-minute documentary about him on YouTube if you want to watch it, where he basically goes into how he likes his comedy now more than ever because he says the psychedelic community, in his opinion, is just more intelligent. And then after shows, people are curious and they will hang out and talk to him and ask him questions about it. And he really enjoys it. So it was almost like this guy already enjoyed being a comedian, but he kind of whittled his way down to specializing his comedy into something truly unique.
We need to keep his info.
I got it.
And then
I'm going to shoot him an email. And, you know, maybe we can go camping with him and do some drugs.
Yeah, we'll talk to him every once in a while, especially when new things change and stuff, because he knows a lot about this. Anyway.
Yeah, good dude.
All right, we will see you tomorrow.
Awesome.
Is that Thursday or Friday? That's Friday. Sorry.
That's Friday.
Yeah, we want to go back and say we'll see you on Monday. Or it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we'll see you on Monday. I forgot that was Friday's show.
No, I get it. He's very nice. And now it's lunchtime?
Yeah.
Like right on the nut. All right, guys. Well, have a wonderful rest of your day. We'll be back at 1. And we are for lunch, and we'll be back at 1. We got, right a little bit before 1:30. We have Cadillac Pat when we come back. So,